But now you have young people, some with college educations, everyone with cell phones, quoting Gandhi and Martin Luther King Jr. in Tahrir Square. And today in Tunisia you have an Islamist party which is receded as a sort of loyal opposition to a multi-party system that seems to be stable. There are threats on the margins, but it's holding. You have countries like Yemen and Libya that are struggling with the sort of free-for-all to try to establish some civic order and governance and structure, and other countries that, like Syria, that we'll get to in a moment. Looking forward and speaking to that generation and their aspiration, what should the U.S. principle of action be, and the international community? Is it? Some people are withdrawing, saying it's a mess. Let's leave it alone. You have probably wisely said it's not ours to figure out. It's their culture. It's their history. But from a policy standpoint, what should leadership do in the West and in the sort of advanced industrial world?
In a single word, engage. These countries, these societies, with the challenges they face, are not going to be better if we decide they're not our business. Whether it is Tunisia, which is staggering in a generally democratic direction, although I'd say we're on chapter 3 of a 47-chapter novel, or Egypt, which seems to validate in an Egyptian context what Faulkner said about the American South. The past isn't history; it's not even past. With General Sisi now looking a lot like a new Mubarak, or Sadat, or Nasser. Again, they don't get better if we don't engage. And by engagement, I mean engagement at every level. Certainly with governments, but also a major effort to engage civil society, these young people you talk about. One of our successes, or one of Afghanistan's successes that we help facilitate, has been the rise of an empowered post-Taliban generation who don't really like the way the country was run, who don't get along with their parents, who think that the Afghan warlords were just as bad as the Taliban. These are people we need to support and to work with, along with women. Mm-hmm. But we also have to work with governments, because these groups, are not going to create institutions. That's what governments do. At some point, one would hope to see them in power, where they are creating or rehabilitating institutions, but we're not there yet. The Afghanistan today is fundamentally different than any past Afghanistan in at least two respects. One of them is women's empowerment. The idea of shoving Afghan women back into burqas, I wouldn't want to be the one doing the shoving. Beyond that, you've got a whole post-Taliban generation that has come of age in a free society with free media access, free access to the internet, education in universities, including the American University of Afghanistan, that their parents couldn't even have dreamed of. That is a key element of change. But once again, it's going to take our backing, our leadership, and our presence.